Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan video. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at how boss crits work and how bosses with the new critting mechanic can cause damage to you. Now, obviously a little bit of a build up until we get to the actual two instances of crit that I'll show you. But there are a couple things that you need to know about the boss's critting. Firstly, bosses will apply the same crit multiplier that players have to their own attacks. So 1.825 will be applied to the boss's attack upon initiating their super attack. Right now there's only two bosses in the game that crit, the Tech Broly from the Devil's event and the Gohan currently from the Blue Zone. But it feels like it's a mechanic that's going to become more prevalent in content. So how does critting work? Well, firstly, it is going to ignore your type advantage. So it is going to ignore whatever type you are. It will also ignore the type advantage component of guard. So for example, if you are a int Vegeta, Super Saiyan Blue E, you will not have type advantage against Tech Gohan when he crits. If you are a int Broly, you will not have type advantage with your guard mechanic against Tech Gohan. However, all instances of damage reduction still apply. So, for example, any damage reduction that your unit has, any damage reduction from your unit's guard mechanic still applies, and guard applies a 12.23% damage reduction, and class damage reduction still exists. So, super versus extreme, etc. So all instances of damage reduction still apply, but that also means as well all instances of defense still apply. So crits do not exceed your defense. That is not how it works. You cannot have your crit exceed your defense. You will still have your defense apply as normal. We can see this in my second example, but we'll talk about the first one with Broly. So obviously damage reduction all applying does mean that damage reduction is a very effective method of counteracting crits. The thing is, for example, we're going to see now two instances of crit against two different types of units. So in the first instance, we are going to see Broly with 60% base damage reduction and additional 10% damage reduction from the Broly Chilalemo, an additional damage reduction from his guard mechanic, which will still be active. He won't get the type advantage, but he'll still get the guard damage reduction, and he gets the class damage reduction from being extreme. All of this will apply, and Broly is going to take very minimal damage from Gohan. He's going to take around 260k. This is because all the layers of damage reduction are layering on top of each other and are still effective against the crit rate. Broly's defense will still count, and he will take around 260k. Gohan has a 1.65 million super attack, and he will apply the 1.825 multiplier. Then he will ignore the fact that we are int or have guard mechanic. However, we will still have all our layers of damage reduction, and so Broly, even without an item, will tank this really well. And that's because of the multiple levels of damage reduction still applying to him, thus giving him pretty good level of strength against Gohan. The second instance, we will have Oni Tech Broly with only his raw defense. This is the Tech Broly that obviously easy aid, so all he has is raw defense, and we will not get his 12 key. In this instance, you will see that Gohan, even though he only does a 1.68 million super attack, hits us for around 2.2 million. And this is fairly consistent with the calculations of applying that 1.825 multiplier to Gohan's super attack. So what that means is we can confirm the multiplier for the crit rates is the same. Obviously Gohan is then critting us, but it doesn't do anything because we are type neutral. So it's not changing how guard or any mechanics work. And the only other level of protection we have in mitigation is our typing. So that's it. Pretty simple to understand, honestly. A very straightforward concept. I think it's great to always understand the ways to avoid it. Very clearly, large levels of damage reduction still continues to be the best primary method of defense against any kind of super attack really, but especially against crits, your best bet is units with damage reduction over units with raw high defense. However, guard becomes a much less prevalent mechanic in these situations, and evasion could become something that's far more useful to use overall. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it is up to you as the player to choose what you want to deal with. Bye.